So we're back again, and you've gone through the process of establishing a rapport with that customer, the meet and greet. You've established a qualifying step where you're understanding really what that person is interested in, really what their needs are in coming to you. And to review, we've discovered whether or not it's just a minimum amount of care they're looking for, or if they really want to be proactive in their oral health. And if it's not, maybe you can do some things to enhance that. One of the things that is very popular in the dental industry right now is presenting additional products, doing things to maybe what you'd call upsell or selling more services to that client. Everybody who you visit or visits you will have needs that you'll identify. It may be chips or cracks or old work that's kind of deteriorating. It may be whitening. That's something that's popular these days in the dental industry. But there's always going to be things that you can identify, giving a certain amount of time, analyzing or reviewing a person's history and what their teeth look like. You can always find things to sell. The question is going to be, how are you going to sell that? And that's really what step 3 and 4 is. Step 3 is presenting that product, presenting those services. Step 4 is the most important one. That's closing the sale. One of the easy things to sell is visit frequency outside of a normal routine. So if a person normally comes once or twice a year, if you can update that or upgrade that to maybe 3 or 4 times a year, that adds extra revenue. It also gets that person in front of you more to get more familiar and comfortable with that experience. Well, how do you do that? Well, if that experience is at least a neutral, if not a positive experience, the person's going to feel like each one of their visits won't be as traumatic because there won't be as much work to do in the cleaning. So when they come back for their more frequent visit, it's going to be an easier, less intense type visit, and they'll notice the difference of what it's like to have more frequent cleanings or preventive care. Another area might be leaky fillings. If you have an old filling and there's a slight leak and you're getting that graying around the tooth, that's something that you can point out to the person with photographs, and a lot of you do that very well, showing the photograph, showing what the work is. Presenting that product is the easy part. Closing the deal is a little more difficult. We'll get to that in a minute. One of the things that some of our clients are working on is a VIP type card, where you have certain additional services and kind of luxury items provided to that person. Maybe advanced scheduling, and maybe kind of a custom waiting room, and maybe some additional services while you're there at the dentist office, maybe kind of that VIP treatment that comes along with it. There may not be a cost for that, but it also retains customers and clients at a higher rate. So when it comes to presenting the products, you've identified what might be good for that client, for that patient. You maybe lay out a menu item of things that are available to them. Couple things in presenting the product. Don't list out an itemized checklist of 10 or 15 items. Put it into packages. Have 2 or 3 packages of groups of items together at different price points. Have one that is maybe the basic package of 2 or 3 items, another one that's maybe half the list, and a third group that's the entire list. And have them grouped together so that depending on what the customer's budget is, you have an idea of something that fits into any one of those budgets. When you present that selection, be prepared to ask for the sale. Ask them which one they want to do and try to schedule the appointment right then. Don't hand somebody a list and say, get back to me. You want to ask for that sale, because while they're there, that's going to be the best time, the highest probability of them taking action. They're not going to decide a week later when at their house, oh yeah, I want to go spend $3,000 at the dentist office. They're going to decide that while they're in front of you. So make sure and ask for that right then. Attempt to close that deal. Make sure you ask if they understand the offerings. If there's 15 things on a list or 8 things on a list and they have prices next to them, they might not totally understand what those things mean, how much they cost, how it's going to benefit them. If you give them the opportunity right then to ask the questions, that's when you'll have the best opportunity to close that deal. Ask what their thoughts are about the possibility of doing this work. If they just say flat out, look, I'm not interested in any of this. I really don't care about doing anything more than just getting my teeth cleaned. That's good information. That's great for you to know. At that point, you don't want to try to sell against that. You don't want to try to confront that, because that may be something that happens over time. That just tells you that you need to go back and do more work in the educational process of dealing with that client to get them to know more about what the advantages are. You're not going to do that in 5 minutes, so don't even try. If you have somebody who's thinking this might be a good idea, I like some of these offerings, make sure that you get an honest feedback from them. That building rapport that we talked about in step one, the first video, is where you get that honesty from the patient. You get them to explain to you, what it is they're thinking, and really what it is that is the objection about maybe going ahead with one or more of these options or selections. Don't try to oversell the first time. If this is your first presentation to the client, unless you really feel like they have a need or they've expressed an appetite for doing some things, with you as a provider, don't try to oversell everything at once. Put something that's a comfortable balance of good revenue for you, good services for the customer that'll get you a high probability of at least getting some work, and then you can build that into something. And follow up. Ask what their thoughts are for the next time. The most important thing is don't do anything in the presentation, in that sale, that will take away your credibility as a professional. One of the things we've seen in the presentation of this type of a menu item is an interest in creating urgency, which is a great thing. You want to try to get the customer to agree and set that appointment right then while they're in your office. Maybe that is part of that is a discount. Maybe there's a mechanism of saying, look, if we set this appointment right now, this group of services that was $2,800 will be $2,200. That's fine to have that urgency, but it's very important to have a reason for it, not just holding you hostage, you got to buy today. That sounds like a car salesperson. What you want to do is have a legitimate reason for doing that. And there is a legitimate reason. If you can account for that right then on the spot, you can book that into your appointment schedule in advance, there is an efficiency for your firm for that price to be lower, right? So you want to make sure that there's a legitimate business reason for that discount to be there today. You may not want to tell them point blank that if you call me back tomorrow, it's going to be more money, because nobody wants to hear that, and it takes away from your credibility as a professional medical provider. It puts you into the realm of a salesperson, which you are, but you don't want to take that negative connotation of selling and add it to a professional business like a dentist firm. So make sure if you have a discount built in or some other type of urgency that you're not cloaking it in something that comes across as being less credible. You do want to try to close the sale. You want to ask the customer if they want to do it. And if they say no, you want to ask, well, what do you think about this? If their answer is, I'll get back to you or I'll think about it, don't leave it there. Great. What are you going to think about? What are the questions you have, or what are the considerations that that you have on your mind? And ask them point blank. What are your thoughts? Do you think you want to do this? Does it sound like a good idea? Am I matching what your needs are? Get very good, honest feedback from them. That'll help you not only with that client, but maybe adjust the presentation for future clients, and you can keep it in the back of your mind for that person if you talk to them in 6 months or a year, maybe kind of rattle their cage a little bit about what their status is on maybe going ahead with some of that work. So there's an overview of some great ways to build your business in the medical provider industry, specifically with a dentist practice. It's like any other industry. You want to grow your business by serving your clients. Do the things that you believe in as a business owner, as a medical professional, that are the reasons why you care about being in that industry. Using that to serve your clients, you'll grow your business, you'll get great reviews from your existing clients, and even get referrals from people who will go out and kind of evangelize to their friends and relatives how great of an experience it was in something that they don't always expect is going to be the case.